and welcome to episode 22 of the Raising Musos podcast, where we help parents support their child's musical journey by providing advice, tips, and stories. If you haven't heard of me before, my name is Eliza Bourgault. I'm a pianist, I'm a harpist, and I'm also the director of Music Makers Academy. We are a music school located in Joondalup, Western Australia, and we offer tuition for piano, harp, guitar, voice, violin, and flute. I think that's right, and I haven't left out anything. And on this podcast, I talk about lots of different things, including, practice, music teachers, music teaching styles, teaching pedagogies, and performing, exams. And every once in a while, I'll talk about something perhaps a little bit more personal. And this is what today's episode is going to be. I'm going to share with you sort of the proudest moments of my career, or rather like the students that I'm really proud of and why I'm proud of them, because that's going to, give you an insight into how teachers feel sometimes, and perhaps, you might think of your child's progress in a different way. You might notice accomplishments that perhaps you just were not really aware of before. And so that's the point of today's episode. It's just inspiring others and sharing some of my students' journeys, because I have some like really amazing students, and all of them are actually like really good. I really enjoy teaching all of my students, but the ones that I've picked today, the reason I picked them was because of either like the transformation that they've gone through, or also what they bring it into my own life, and also what they have taught me, either about learning music, teaching music, or about myself as well. So I hope you find this episode as interesting as I think it will be. And another reason why, I want to do this episode is because I do find teaching to be a very challenging career. I think I have about 25 students at the moment, and it's very exhausting seeing that many people and being hyper focused for so long throughout the day. And teaching is something that just requires so much patience, because obviously students progress at their own pace, and you can't just force them to play the way you want them to play without trying again and again and again, and not you don't want to rush a student through their progress, but you also have to like push them. And so sometimes finding the balance between pushing them harder and just accepting where they are and what they are able to do in the present moment can be very tricky. So sometimes, we have to explain things 100 times before like a concept really clicks with a student, or we actually have to spend a lot of time during the lesson maybe practicing, repeating stuff, or we have to keep like repeating a certain thing like lots of times until they just start getting it. So it sort of feels like you're nagging your student, or you're just being annoying. But sometimes that's what it takes to see results in your students. or sometimes they want to quit, they are not inspired, they're not motivated, they maybe lack curiosity in what they're learning, and you just have to sort of keep pushing them or find new ways to engage them. And you know, like sometimes, actually quite often, like teachers, we also want to like quit and give up. Maybe, you know, we're not seeing, despite everything that we're trying, we're still not seeing our student making the progress that we expect them to. Even though like deep down we know that the student like has the capacity, would be capable of doing what we expect them to, they're just not getting there, and it can be very frustrating for us when we don't have the answers. And so basically it becomes this whole journey of trying to find new solutions, you know, getting creative with how we teach, what we teach, and how we can help our students. So that's why I find teaching really quite challenging. It's obviously something that I do take quite seriously with my students, but it does take, you know, active listening, which is, it's very exhausting. If you're a like therapist and you spend your day like listening to people, you would know how exhausting proper listening is. You have to have amazing attention to detail, and as I said before, you just have to be so patient, especially with young kids. But every once in a while, you know, our student will do something like truly remarkable, and all of the like challenging aspect of our job becomes worth it. And we're so excited for them. We see them kick a goal in the butt, and it's just so rewarding as a teacher to know that we were a part of that. And yeah, there's been lots of times that I have felt very proud of my students, and also really like genuinely happy for them. And so I'm going to start by my first student, Oscar. He's very dear to me. He's actually not having lessons with me anymore. He stopped at the end of last year, but he did have lessons with me for around 5 or 6 years. So he probably started at maybe 8 or 9 years old. And so with Oscar, basically every year we would spend most of the year working on exam repertoire, practicing scales and learning pieces, and doing oral, or what's called listening exercises. And so that was sort of like our normal week-to-week lessons. But when he was about 12 years old, so perhaps 2 to 3 years into piano lessons, he actually started making up arrangements of his favorite songs. And he would do this completely by himself without any of my input. And so sometimes he would just come into his lesson and be like, hey, can I like show you this song that I just created, or that is just arranged? And I was like, sure, of course. And yeah, I was like, wow, that's like really amazing that you can do that all by yourself. And so I think what he used to do, he would sort of find some very basic sheet music of whatever song he wanted to arrange, and he would sort of start reading the notes by himself, and that was sort of like the skeleton for his own arrangement. And so he created so many arrangements of so many different songs, like he did The Mandalorian, he did Last Christmas. He like his whole like song list of songs that he's arranged for piano is very extensive. Last year when I did the open day, when my studio opened, I think he did something like 12 songs, and all of these songs were songs that he had arranged himself in his own time. And I was just so happy to see him do that. especially without my input, because basically that meant that he didn't need me anymore. And I was actually happy about that, because that meant he had reached a certain level of independence with his ability to learn songs, to read music, or to play by ear. And so I was just really happy about that. Um, Obviously, this is what we want as teachers, is for our students to become independent learners, to be able to do things by themselves without a teacher telling them how to do things. So as I said, Oscar is no longer taking lessons with me, but he is still very involved with music. I know that he's doing like music ATAR as a subject in year 11 and 12. And he's also part of, well, he was also a part of the music production at his school recently. Every time there's an event at school, he's probably playing piano for that. So yeah, I'm just like really proud of him. And I'm very also, what he taught me was that as a teacher, what I want is for my students to be independent and to be able to come to that stage where music is something they just like want to do and they don't need to have lessons anymore. And the other thing that really inspires me about Oscar is that because he knows what music means to him, like he loves arranging songs for piano. I know that even though he doesn't have lessons with me anymore, like he's still playing piano, and that just makes me really happy. Like he has found his own connection to music, and yeah, I'm just very happy that music is going to be a part of his life in the long term. I truly believe so. So I'm very proud of him for like, yeah, to see how he's developed musically. So that's Oscar's story. And he got up to about grade 4 on piano, but by then he just wanted to play whatever songs he wanted. So yeah, so that's Oscar. That was my first student that that I'm really proud of. And as I said, Oscar was sort of like my I don't know how to say it, but it's like what you want your students to achieve. Like I want them to achieve like what Oscar's achieved. So he's sort of like my example for what I want he's like the definition of what I want my students to get out of music lessons with me. They get this lifelong connection to music because they have learned enough skills to get them going by themselves, and they are creative, and they are not afraid of being creative with music and playing whatever it is that they want to do. So that's why Oscar is like a very important student to me, and why I'm also very upset that he's no longer having lessons. Like, how dare he? No, but so let me know if you've ever had a student like this, or if you see your child like following the same trajectory. Maybe they are having quite a classical training with exams every year, but now you see them like dabble into other styles, maybe getting creative. Like, I 100% think that is a good thing, because it's showing you they are finding their own connection to music. They're not letting other people dictate anymore like what they should or shouldn't play. So I think that's a very, very good thing. And I actually wish that I had nurtured that a little bit more, but I was always focused on, the exam repertoire for a reason I will not talk about here. So the next student I wanted to talk about is Zaria. And she has been having lessons with me for maybe the same amount of time, like about 6 years. That sounds crazy. And she's doing piano and harp lessons with me. And Zaria's just a lovely girl, and quite introverted, and shy. You can just tell she's quite soft spoken, just very sweet and nice. Um, and for her biggest transformation has resolved around her confidence when performing. And so she's always had a big fear of performing, stage fright. Playing in front of others is something she avoided at all costs. But actually, no, she didn't avoid it at all costs. She just sort of didn't enjoy doing it. Because so every year at my studio, we do concerts. I try to do 2 concerts a year, one in the first semester, one in the second semester. And so actually Zaria would often, perform at these concerts. I don't think she really enjoyed that experience a whole lot. And, shame, like it's just stage fright. It's something that's very common in students. I went through it myself when I was young. And so, yeah, she had this stage fright and anxiety. And so often her hands would just shake like really badly. But I think it would have been early last year. She just came to her lesson one morning and she's like, oh, I just really want to get over my fear of performing. I just want to get better at it. I want to just conquer that anxiety that I have when I perform. And so she decided that year she would perform as much as she could. So instead of shying away from the fear and letting it control her, she was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go for it, and I'm gonna perform regardless of that stage fright that I feel. And so when the first studio concert came around, obviously we practiced a lot on her piece, and when she performed it, like she did it so well. She was able to keep the tempo like really consistent through the whole thing. She, I don't remember, she might have played a couple of wrong notes, but like she just kept going. I was just really, really proud of how well she played her piece, knowing the kind of stage fright that she experiences. And so I was just like really proud of her, not just for like that one performance, but more so for the attitude that she had adopted regarding, facing her fear. But that was just one concert, and to my surprise, she actually ended up performing a lot more last year, mostly at her high school. So she joined the school orchestra, which again like surprised me quite a lot. And yeah, she actually played harp at her school on a number of occasions. So I think she did like a harp. She accompanied one of the teachers who is like a singer. So it was like a harp and voice duet. And so again, we just spent a lot of time practicing her part. And then she played it for a festival. She played it at the school assembly. And so she had all these performances, and she actually said to me, that she actually enjoyed performing, that the music that she played, that it was like a rewarding and enjoyable experience performing, probably because she knew the song so well and she was starting to become comfortable with being uncomfortable on stage. And something else that I think she learned throughout this whole year of doing more performing, and this is something she personally said to me, a little bit of Zaria wisdom to keep you going. She she said that performing is like a school test. You can't expect to get 100%. Um, so that is the wisdom that she gained um, whilst she performed over the year. And so I think, she has definitely grown a bit more. I think she has more realistic expectations of herself when performing, and she's more gentle and forgiving with herself when she makes mistakes. Um, so that has been her transformation. So going from someone who's very, you know, who has quite serious stage fright, hates performing, coming out of their shell, to someone who has realistic expectations of performing, who is willing to do it, and who has gained a lot of wisdom from it. So I'm also very proud of her for what she's achieved. Actually, she also did an exam last year. She did a video exam. She got a mark that I'm really happy with. And again, that was another type of performance that she was willing to do. So yeah, I'm very happy for her, and I'm very proud of, again, like her mindset that she had with wanting to actually, get over her fear and not let it stop her from trying things. Yeah, and I think it's something we can all learn from. So I have so these were like the two main students that I'm probably the most proud of. Not that I'm not proud of anybody else, but I thought their stories was really quite they inspire me. But I do want to also mention a couple of other students here for other reasons. So I have two adult students, and one is called Meg, the other Ella. They are, I don't know how old, like probably in the 70s or older. And they come for harp lessons every fortnight. They're very committed students. But what it is that I'm proud of about them is they actually go to play harp at nursing homes or at aged care. And, that makes me very proud, because it means that, first of all, they have the confidence to, again, perform, but more importantly, they see music as something that's bigger than themselves, and it's something that music is better when it's shared with others, and they understand the impact, I suppose, of sharing music with others and using music as a tool for connection. So I'm really happy for them that they do that, and I'm sure all the residents at those aged care facilities are very grateful. Also, I have another student called Isla, sort of similar to Zaria. She's been having lessons for maybe the same amount of time. She's just a bit younger. Also quite shy and introverted, but what I'm really proud of Isla is that she also joined the school orchestra. That's not something I was expecting her to do, just because of her, nature and personality. But yeah, she's been with one of the school ensembles for about 3 years now. And yeah, I'm just really proud that she's taken that step to make music with others. That can be very scary, especially as a harpist, because often you're the only one, you're the only harpist, you're not like with 10 other violins. And so I hope that through this experience she's coming to realize that music is something that's just more meaningful and more fun when it is done and shared with others. Um, and I've seen that, you know, some of her music skills have really improved, like her reading of rhythm and keeping the tempo consistent. And actually, something else with Isla is that she, at the start of the year, she decided she wanted to learn this song. That was like her own choice, Wildest Dreams by Taylor Swift. Quite, um, quite advanced for her level, especially because it's quite a fast-paced song. And she is still working on that piece. It's been, you know, 5 months since she started. She's still working on it, and so what at the moment she's working on increasing the tempo. And I recorded like little practice videos for her to follow at different tempos of that song, and every week she's like, oh, I managed to like do it at that speed, and then next week I managed to increase it by 5. And she is just so focused on, you know, she has a vision for what she wants to achieve, and she's definitely one of the students who like practices the most out of all my students. So she has the vision. She, you know, has the intrinsic motivation to do the work that's necessary. And a lot of people, especially sort of younger age kids, when they think about how much work it's going to take to get something really good, yeah, they would prefer to do something a bit easier. So I'm just very proud that Isla is, you know, has that vision for herself, for what she wants to do, what she can achieve, and she's willing to try, first of all, and she's also willing to put in the work. So she has a very good, you know, work ethic, and it's paying off. It's paying off. As I said, she's she's meeting those tempo targets every week. And her playing of that piece has just gotten so much better over especially the last month or so. So I'm just very proud of her for those reasons. So I think that's it for today's episode. That was just a little insight into some of my students. As I said, I've got about like 25 of them, and I'm proud of them all, just for different reasons, but these were the ones that really stand out, probably because I've known them for so long. So I really know their transformation and their story like really well. So let me know like which story really spoke to you or really inspired you today. If you are a teacher, like let me know like some of your own student stories. As I said, you know, being a teacher it's not easy. It's takes a lot of patience, and sometimes it takes a long time to see any change or any results. So that's it for today. I will see you in the next episode next week.